Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Faith. Today I want to share with you how I made this lovely two-piece gown, maxi gown, and it can be styled differently. You can see how beautiful it looks. First, you can decide to just wear it like so without the lace blouse, the inner, and you can see how beautiful it looks like this. Right, this can be worn during summer, okay, and then we have the lace blouse here. Can you see how beautiful this looks? This can be paired with trouser or skirt, any of your choice, okay. Can you see how beautiful this blouse looks? Okay, so if you're interested in this tutorial, then let's get straight into it. Okay guys, so to begin with this tutorial, we need two patterns, and the first pattern I have here is the basic block. I have the CB there, and this is the CF. The second pattern I have is a full basic block. This will be for the lace blouse, okay, and is 23 inches long because it extends to the hip, so it's a full block. Now I'll keep this aside because we won't be needing it yet, and then we'll come back to it later. Okay, so we'll be starting with our basic block, and all we need to do is just to alter this to a classic princess style line. Now this is my chest line, this is the bust point line, this is the under bust, and this is my waistline. For the back I have the chest line and then the waistline. Now, for the back, I have a difference of 2 inches between the back and the front, okay, and which is what I have there on my bust dart, okay. Moving forward, next thing will be for me to alter my front block to a classic princess style line, and to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is to tighten my underbust. Now the underbust measurement I'm working with is 29. 29 divided by 4 will give me 7.25. Okay, which I will mark and then measure what I have left, and I have that to be 1.5. Now I'll take that 1.5, come to the center front, and I'll impute 0.5 there. Now on the other side of the dart, I'm going to impute 1 inch. So I've successfully divided my 1.5 into those two places. Now I'll connect it back to my bust apex there, like so. And then I'll repeat the same process for the other side, connecting it back to the bust apex. And then I'll make sure I take that one back to my initial dart leg that I have, okay. So now I've tightened my underbust. Next thing is for me to come to the shoulder here and measure the shoulder. What I have there is 4.75. I'm going to divide that into 2, and then on from my chest line I'll go up by 1 inch, okay. Now this depends on your choice. You can go higher or you can decide to just make use of your chest line. Now I'm going to connect my bust apex to my shoulder, okay. The next thing is for me to tighten the oval bust, and I decided to make use of 0.75, okay. I'll connect those points to back to my bust apex like so. Alright, so now I've tightened my oval bust. Okay, the next thing will be for me to connect the side front back to the shoulder, and I want the shoulder to be smaller than it is now, So I measured what I have there, which is 2.5. Can you see? So I decided to reduce it to 2 inches. And what I did was to mark 0.25 on both sides just to reduce it back to 2 inches. Okay. So now I'll connect it. I'll connect that point on the oval bust back to the shoulder. Can you see? And then the other one to the armhole like so. Can you see? So these are out, just so you understand. Okay. The next thing will be for us to um create the sweetheart deep sweetheart neckline in front. And what I did was on the bust line, I went up by 1 inch. Okay, this is totally your choice. If you want it this deep, it's fine. If you don't, you can take it higher. Okay, but for me, I went up from the underbust by 1 inch. Okay, so can you see? And then I decided to check my oval busts there to see if they will match up, and they did. So I'm done with the center front. Next thing will be for me to cut out, close up my bust dart, and then we'll move to alter the back pattern also. Okay, so to close the bust dart, I have to open the waist dart, and then I have an allowance which I added to which I released in the front there for my bust dart. Now this is totally your choice. If you don't want that, you can just roll it up, okay, to the bust apex. But I just like to have that allowance there. It's just my choice, okay? Now that I've done this, I'll blend up the side seam there, okay, so that they match up. And then I'll go ahead and cut out everything. Okay, so our front pattern is ready. Can you see? Alright, next thing we'll be moving to the back. For the back, we don't have much alteration like that. Now, all we have to do now is to come to the shoulder here, just like we did for the front. We're going to be dividing the shoulder measurement into two. Okay, and then connect it back to the bust there, the dot line. And just like I also went up on the chest line by 1 inch for the front, I'll repeat the same process for the back also. I went up by 1 inch there, and then and also I will divide the shoulder. I'll take out some few inches from the shoulder so that I can have the 2 inches just like I had for the front so that they will match up. Okay, just like this. Okay, so now I'm done. This is my CB. Okay, I just want to show you how I'll be cutting it out. Okay, so the little piece down there like so will be my CB, and this will be my SB, which is my side back. I'll go ahead and cut out now, and our pattern will be ready. CB. And SB. So all patterns are ready. Can you see? Okay, so now I'll keep this aside and come with the fabric which we'll be working with, and then we're going to proceed. Okay. Alright guys, so this is the fabric we'll be working with. I have this chantilly lace here. It's 2 yards. I have my lining and I have this fabric. Okay. The fabric is 5 yards. Okay. So this is what we'll be working with. Don't forget you also need matching thread, matching zipper. Okay. Alright. Now the next thing we'll be going to is to how to cut our flare, and for this class we'll be working with the 180-degree flare. If you want it fuller, you can make use of 180 degree times 2, which will give you 160, 360 rather. Okay, now the waist I'm working with is 29 plus 1 inch allowance for zipper will be 30. Now 30 divided by 3.14 will give me 9.55, which is approximately 9.6. So that will be my radius. Now the next thing will be for me to calculate my flare length. Now my total gown length is 58 plus 2 inches for hemming allowance and other seam allowances will give me 60. Now the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to have ruffles, or should I call it gathers, which we're going to attach at the hem of the flare. So I'm going to determine the length of the ruffles now. Initially I wanted to use 10, but I decided to change it to 12. So my ruffles is going to be 12 inches long. Okay, so now 60 minus 12 will give me 48. The next thing I want to do is to deduct the length of my bodice, and the length of my bodice is 16. So what I have is 48 minus 16, and that will give me 32. So my flare length is going to be 32 inches long. Now I need to get the total flare length because I need to add my radius to that flare length. So 32 plus 9.6 will give me 41.6. So that is going to be the total flare length I will have to take first before I cut out my radius. Okay guys, so I decided to do this on the floor because my table will be too small for this, and you want your fabric to be on fold, then you have to pick one side of the edge that is on fold there, and then from that edge you're going to be marking out your 41.6. I made use of 42. I just approximated it and I used 42. So you can see the way I took that measurement from one of the top edge there. And that edge has to be the edge that is on fold. Okay. Now when I finished marking the full length, at this point I started deducting the 9.6. So can you see? So this is how it will look. When you're done, you want to confirm if you have enough for your flare length. And when I did, I had enough. So now I went ahead and I cut it out. Then you want to cut out your radius also, and your flare is ready. The next thing will be for you to measure the hem, what you have on the hem there. You need this for to determine how long your ruffles is going to be. Okay, and also to determine the amount of fabric you'll be needing for your ruffles. Okay, so when I measured, I had 66, and remember this fabric is on fold, so 66 multiplied by 2 will be 132. So you want to hold that fabric. Sorry, you want to hold that figure in your head because you will need it. Okay, so this is it, guys. I've cut the lining for the flare, and I also went ahead to cut all the other patterns. Now this is fabric that we'll be using for the ruffles. Can you see? I have them on fold and I have like 3 of them, very long. Remember how I arrived at this is that, remember on the floor I asked us to measure the hem of the flare we cut out, and we had 132. So I went ahead and I multiplied that 132 by 2, which gave me 264 inches. So I had to cut out that 264 inches in different length like this. Okay, so what I'll do now is to join them all together to arrive at that 264, and then pull them together to attach to the hem of the flare. Okay, now these are the other patterns for the bodies, and this is my CB and SB. On the SB side there, the same line I added 2 inches and then half inch all round. For the CB, I added 1 inch for zipper and then half an inch all round. Now for the CF, remember you're going to be cutting it on fold. Okay, and then all other side you add half inch round. The same thing for the SF, half an inch all round, and then on the side seam I added 2 inches. Okay, so at this point we'll proceed to joining. I'll go on and remove all the pins. Now at this point you can decide to interface and to also pad, use a light wording to pad the bust area. Okay, just to give it more cup, but if you don't want to, it's still fine. Okay, so when you're done with all that, the next thing will be for us to join. Okay, on half an inch. It's preferable you join from the hem. Alright guys, so this is mine. I've gone ahead and I've joined, pressed out, and you can see how it looks. I've repeated the same thing for the lining. Can you see? Now moving to the back, we're going to repeat the same process. Okay, this is the center back, and I'll remove the pins from the side back also. Okay, so just the same way, we're going to be joining on half an inch. Okay, then we'll repeat the same process for the lining also. Okay guys, so this is it. Can you see? The next thing will be for us to knitting the neckline, and we're going to be doing that on 1/2 inch. So this is the back, and then the same thing for the front. Half an inch for the front. You want to make sure you align all the points, okay? Where you have your seam lines, you make sure that they align and they are directly on each other, okay? So this is it. I've sewn and pressed out. Can you see how it looks? The same thing for the back. Okay, the next thing now will be for us to join our shoulder. And because this is going to be sleeveless, because we need to knitting the armhole, you're going to be joining the shoulder in this manner, fabric to fabric, lining to lining. You just open it up straight like so. Can you see? You repeat the same thing for the other side, okay? Okay guys, so this is it. I've joined the shoulder. The next thing now will be for us to knitting the armhole. Okay, and to do that, you have to input your side seam allowance on the side. Okay, mark out your side seam so that it will be easy for you. Then the next thing will be to open up your shoulder like so, turn it out. That's right side facing right side. Okay, can you see? Then from where you have your side seam, for the front, you just sew straight to the back like so, from one side seam to the other side seam like so. You repeat the same thing for the other side. Okay guys, so this is it. I've sewn and I turned this one. So this is how it should look like. Now I'll use the other one to show you how to turn it. So when you sew, this is what you will have. Can you see? From one side to the other side. Now you want to pass your hand through the front, like so, through the small shoulder, the small allowance you have on the shoulder there, and then you pull out the back like this, and you keep pulling until you have it all out. Okay? Okay, it's not difficult, alright? Another option is you can use bias to knitting your armhole, but I think this is better and more professional. Okay, now I'll go ahead and press. Alright guys, can you see? I've pressed it out and you can see how neat it looks. Next thing will be for us to just close up the side seam now. At this point it's easy because you have your side seam allowance marked out already. You want to go out and also mark out your side seam allowance on the waistline. Okay, and the next thing will just be to sew it straight down, fabric to fabric, lining to lining. Okay, you do the same thing on the other side. Okay guys, so this is it. Can you see? All right, next thing will be for us to come with our flare, because we need to attach the flare at this point. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now is to attach our flare, fabric to fabric, lining to lining. So I'll pick the bodice, the main fabric for the bodice, and attach it to the flare of the main fabric, and I'll pick the lining and also attach it to the lining of the flare. Can you see? And this is how the inside should look. Can you see? Okay, now I'll set this aside and come with our fabric for the ruffles. Okay, can you see? The next thing will be for us to join all this fabric together, and then I'll run a loose stitch on one of the edge, that is the top, and then I'll pull it together and come show you what I have. Okay guys, this is what I have. Okay, now I'll just fix this. Now you want to make sure your ruffles is as long as the hem of your flare. You have to make sure of that. And then the next thing will be to fix it to the hem. Okay, make sure you have right side facing right side, and then you sew all the way from one end to the other. Okay guys, can you see? I've done that. And can you see what we have? All the way to the other. Now our gown is almost ready, and what we need to do now is to close up the back and then fix our zipper. Okay, and then I'll come back to show you what I have. Don't forget to also close your lining. Alright guys, so this is it. Can you see our gown is ready? I've also hemmed. Don't forget to do that. So this gown is ready. I'll set this aside and then we'll go to the blouse. Okay, now to work on the blouse, we need this other pattern which I showed you initially. Now you can see that my block is dartless. That's because the lace is stretchy, so there's actually no need for that. And also I deducted 1 inch from every of my measurements because it's stretchy, so I needed to do that. Now the length of this blouse is 23 inches, so it's a full block length. Alright, and I tightened my center back there. For the back, I have it to be 21 inches, okay, and which explains the reason why I have a bust dart there, okay. Alright, so I'm going to be opening up that dart and then we're going to be sewing it in to make our side seam equal. Alright, for the neckline, because we'll be attaching a collar to it, I have that to be 3 by 3. For the back, I have a neck width of 3 and a neck depth of 1. So we'll go ahead to cut out now. Okay guys, so this is our pattern. Now I've placed on the fabric, and for the side seam I used 1 inch. Now for my dart, bust dart there, I added allowance of half an inch. Now you want to make sure you equalize those two opening there. Definitely the down one will be shorter, so you have to make it longer to meet up. And then because I want my blouse to have that lace edge there, I decided not to shape it out, okay. And then just added half an inch on the neckline and the shoulder. Go ahead and cut out now. Okay, now this is the back. I added 1 inch on the side seam, 1 inch on the center back for zipper allowance, and then 1/2 inch on all other places. Okay, now for the sleeve, I decided to make use of 23 inches long, and this fabric now is on fold. Remember I told you this lace is 2 yards, so I decided to cut out the whole 2 yards but 23 inches long, because I want to use 1 yard, that's like 36 inches long for each of the sleeve. So I'll go ahead and separate it now so that I can have 36 inches for each of the sleeve. Can you see? Alright, so each will be for the sleeve. Now we'll proceed to sewing, and we are starting with the center front. Okay, so I'll open it up now. The first thing we're going to be doing is to sew down the bust dart. Okay, remember we added 1/2 inch, so you're going to be sewing on 1/2 inch. Alright guys, so this is it. Now you want to trim it as much as possible, but please don't, be careful so you don't cut it open. Okay, okay, so this is it. Next we're going to come with the back, and we're going to be joining the shoulder. Okay, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Alright, so this is it. Next will be for us to close the side seam, and remember we added 1 inch seam allowance, which we're going to be taking out. Okay, alright, so this is it. Can you see? Next thing will be for us to draft the pattern for the collar. Remember that this blouse has a mandarin collar. So what I'm doing now is that I'm fixing the shoulders together. I'm trying to align the neckline so that I can measure it out. So here I measured and my shoulder was 8.5 inches long, and then I decided to measure it again to be sure. Now because this fabric is stretchy, you want to be careful not to pull it. Okay, so now I measured out the back, and I have the back neckline to be 4 inches, and then the front to be 4.5 inches. I will start with a straight line. That's just like a starting point. And remember, the length of my collar on fold actually is 8.5. Now I want the collar height to be 1.5. Okay, which is what I'm marking now. I'll also make sure I have 8.5 on that other line there, and then I'll connect it like so. Alright, to have this rectangular shape. Now I'll mark out my front neckline, which was 4.5. Okay, now on the back neckline, I will divide my 1.5 into 2, which is going to give me 0.75. Now I'll take that mark there and then connect it to my front neckline like so, to the shoulder rather. Now I'll complete the measurement there, the 1.5. So that means I added 0.75 back to complete that. And can you see? Then I'll connect it back to the shoulder up like so. From the center back there, I'll go in by you can do 1, you can do 0.5, but I decided to go in by 0.75. And then from that point, I'll use the curve side of my ruler and just create a curve down there like so. Can you see? So my collar is ready. This is the easiest way you can draft a mandarin collar. Alright, so I'll go ahead and cut out now. And then we're going to be cutting on fabric. Okay, now remember this is my CF. Okay, now I decided to line my collar. So I have this crepe fabric. It's on fold, and I've gone ahead and added half an inch all round. Okay, now we'll be cutting two of this. Okay, because we need one to line the lace, and the second one is going to serve as the lining. Okay, I'll go ahead now and place this on the lace, and then I'll show you. Okay guys, so this is it. Can you see? I'll go ahead and cut out now. Okay, so now that I'm done cutting, what I'll do now is to open this up, and then I'm going to infuse the lace to one of this. I'm going to use my hemming gum to gum this so that it becomes one, and then the other one is going to serve as our lining. Okay guys, so this is it. You can see that I have this now as one piece. That's because I made use of hemming gum and I gummed them together. Alright, so the next thing will be for me to sew that side, and before I do that, I'll go up by half an inch on both sides. Okay, so I'll sew from one of the half an inch on half an inch also straight to the other side. Okay, and then when I do that, I'll turn it over. Can you see? So I've done that and I've turned it over. Now this was the reason why we went up by half an inch. It will enable you to tuck that half an inch inside on the lining, okay, so that you can knit in the neckline properly. Now I'll come with the blouse and we're going to be attaching the collar. You want to notch the midpoint of the collar and also notch the midpoint of the neckline of the blouse. Okay, this is just to make it easy for you to fix them together. Alright, so I'll go ahead now and sew from one end to the other end. Okay, alright guys, so this is it. Can you see? I fixed the collar and I also went ahead to knitting it, okay, to close it up with the lining. Next thing will be for me to fix the zipper, and can you see I've done that already. Alright, so for my sleeve I decided to add net to it just to give it some bouncy look. Okay, it's totally optional. If you don't have net and if you don't want to, please don't bother. Okay, this is totally my choice. Alright, so I'm cutting out the net now. I doubled the net for each of the sleeve. Okay, so this net now is for just one of the sleeve. I'll cut for the other one and off camera and then we'll continue. Okay, so alright guys, so I'm done cutting, and for the sleeve, the next thing I want to do now is to fix my elastic there, because I want to gather up the fabric there and create that flare I have on the sleeve. Okay, so I'll come with my elastic. Now for the elastic, I'll be cutting 12 inches. My round elbow measurement is 12 inches. Now the reason I decided to cut exactly 12 inches is because I'll be sewing into the elastic, so it's still going to reduce the measurement. But if you don't want your elastic to get into your seam line, then you can deduct 1 inch or 2 inches from your elastic. Okay, so you can see now I'll be pulling the fabric together like so until everything enters this 12 inches elastic that I have. Okay, alright guys, so can you see? And then I went ahead also the other top to pull it together so that I can have those gathers there. Can you see? The next thing will be to close the side seam of the sleeve like so, straight down. Okay, so I'll do that now for both. Okay, can you see? This is what you have. Alright, and then we'll go ahead to fix to the blouse, both sleeves. So I will do that now and then come show you what I have. Okay, alright guys, so can you see our blouse? Our blouse is ready, and honestly this blouse is so beautiful. Okay, can you see? This is what we have, and then this is the final look of the blouse. Apologies for my voice, I'm a little bit down with cold. So guys, how do you see my blouse and my gown? Thank you for watching.